Welcome to the Walla Way, everybody. This is Imran Nanlawala. On the way to a practice, even though the season is over, our young men are still serious and committed to getting better. And this is the only way to get better, is to keep working on your game. Even though the season is over, not an excuse to stay at home, eat unhealthy, play video games, and watch TV all day. Rather, it's a Friday evening and the guys are committed enough to drive out and come to the practice facility to keep working on their game. So kudos to these young men. On that note, speaking about manhood and men, wanted to speak about something very interesting going on in the NBA circle with Kwame Brown, former NBA player, former first-round draft pick, and the rest of the world. More specifically, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson of the Showtime podcast, All the Smoke, right? And I guess they had Jeannie Buss on recently, and there were some offhand comments, or they indirectly mentioned, I guess, that he wasn't a player who was worthy to be noted, questioned his game, questioned him. And there's been a lot of back and forth, and Kwame Brown has not backed off. He's gone in very deep in terms of the things that he's bringing up. But some things that come to mind are, number one, when you attack somebody, you cannot gauge their response, right? So he felt attacked, and he responded. And it's not really up to us to determine whether that response was too much or too little. You know, he's someone who's been attacked for many, many years since he was drafted into the league at 17 years of age. Kwame Brown went after Stephen A. Smith, and to be fair, Stephen A. Smith is someone who would criticize Kwame Brown very often, make fun of his name, make fun of his game. So in these type of situations, right, when you're willing to talk about another man, you can't really gauge how that man is going to respond, nor should you be astonished or amazed when his response is more than you were anticipating it to be. Kudos to Kwame Brown, honestly, very, very interestingly enough, someone who was very quiet during his playing career, has been speaking a lot in the last week or so, and is very insightful, saying some very insightful things, saying some very deep things that should make everybody think. And even the way he's responding is very interesting, right? Because obviously he took it personally, but he's not screaming or yelling. He's going in hard, as we would say, right? He's going after things in their personal lives or things about the way they conduct themselves on TV. He went after Charlemagne from The Breakfast Club. My fellow coach, Coach Abdullah, and I did one of the first Walla Way podcasts that we did was about, is it possible to have morals in Hollywood? And we specifically spoke about The Breakfast Club and Charlemagne and whatnot. So interesting enough, you know, some of these things are still ongoing, but just a lesson for the young men out there that when you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, right? So when you're going to talk trash and you're going to go after people on social media and whatnot, you have to be ready for the clapback, right? You have to be ready for the retort, whatever that retort is. They may go after your siblings, your spouse, your children, your playing career, the money that you have, the money that you don't have. So whatever it is, you got to be willing to put up with that. And number two, you know, when you talk a certain way, it might invoke a physical altercation. So that is something that you also have to be ready for. Not advocating this. I'm not advocating this. I'm not saying this is good. But you can never, like I said earlier, you can't really control what the other person is going to do or the way they're going to behave, right? So if you talk about someone, you speak their name, you talk about their family, etc., and you run into that person one day and they want to put hands on you, it's something that you have to be ready for, right? So just some things that came to mind, guys. This was done more for our players from the Ball Out Kings, young men who are maturing very quickly and becoming just men. And wanted to quickly touch upon the situation between Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Kwame Brown. I hope these guys can squash their beef. Obviously a big NBA fan, know all of the aforementioned individuals. Never good to have bad publicity on basketball or basketball players. So guys, squash your beef, take care of your business. I think everyone should just man up and apologize, and we go from there. Thank you, Walla Way listeners, and see